again, key in here. So once I do this for the finish, I make sure I really cinch everything in with no space. So what I do is push that off, I intercept, bring this in, I wind up here, but I'm not in position right now to finish without maybe cranking his neck, and he still might be able to gut it out. So before I actually put my hand on his near side hip and go for it, first I'm going to make sure, right, I make any adjustments I need. So now, once I've put my hand here, my bicep is on his neck. So his own shoulder on this side, my bicep on that side, and now you see how easy and quick this is for the finish. Okay. Now let's spin for a second. So let's take a look in here. Anytime, right, we've been kind of going on the premise right now, my strategy's been predicated on the fact he's doing a great job of framing me by making sure his elbows are attached, and in particular, he's always making sure he's keeping this hip from advancing. This one's important too. This one's very important, right? So from here, anytime in the midst of a transition action, him going to try and assist this arm with like dealing with my leg, what have you, at any point, okay? It could be while he's fighting this, or it could be at any other moment, like sometimes as I turn in, maybe I even get his elbow up a little bit here, not enough to totally advance up onto his chest, but enough so that it's compromised. And anytime I can get his arm here, I always have this opportunity to go back into that technique again. But this time his arm is basically going to be between my legs, okay? So from here, now I'm a little bit higher. Not all the way up onto his rib cage, but a little bit higher. Sometimes from here I might even fight this. I'm going to step over at this point and notice the difference between a frame on my near hip and this arm's kind of floating in here a little bit, okay? That's a good thing for me. I have lots of opportunity here. So what I'm going to do at this point, again, he may still be like trying to fight this off or whatever, but I'm in great position here. I'm just going to reach over my own leg, and if this is trying to find a home, I'm just going to pick it up. And now, check it out from here, okay? I'm going to come in here like this and just make sure, I may not necessarily immediately get underneath his head. If he's got his head up a little bit, I can probably do it. He may be fighting that. I'm just going to start to turn in here a little bit and cinch that in, so now I know there's no way for him to get that arm out, right? So if you just try and find a home aside from in between my legs with that arm, go ahead. Okay? It's going to be pretty impossible because I've taken all that space away. Now what I'm going to do is I go to the next stage, which is I got to deal with his head. Unless he had his chin tucked, chances are he's going to know I'm trying to get underneath there, so he's fighting it. So I just grab his head, lift it, okay, and I start to cinch that in. And as I do that, okay, so as I do that, okay, then I go for the arm. Okay? And I'm just starting to break everything down, okay? I can chill here. Like, this is very hard for him to get out of. So from here, I'm going to finish my figure four afterwards. So if his arm isn't already on the outside, I just start to go in here like this, and then you'll see that I can just wiggle that in until I have a figure four. He might choke from here, but the main thing is I can just work on this arm completely at my leisure at this point. All right? So if you get a triangle down there, that's great. But right now, just from here, Ivan, do you have any escapes? Yeah, that's going to be a tough call at this point, right? I have his upper body completely isolated. So now I can just sort of take my time. We talked about I want to be just barely above his elbow, kind of wrapping that up. So I've taken this part of the lever away. Now I only have to fight down here. Now my goal, once I've isolated from the elbow, is to just go to the wrist. Okay, so just start to sprawl on it until, okay, can you move your forearm around? Okay, not really, see? Now I just go to the wrist. And once I have that, okay, now I can finish any number of ways. As he starts to turn his wrist, okay, I'm just going to try and find that thumb from here. And as he starts to bend it, okay, I make sure it's up towards the ceiling from here. So again, down here, I just throw my leg over because he's got that frame. If I'm able to compromise him here, either by forcing him into this or by the fact that he has made some sort of error, then from here, see I'm kind of leading with my hip, I step over, but now his arm is inside. So if I need to, I can kind of reach like basically behind my own leg, pull up on that, cinch everything in here, make sure that's good. If his head is down, I can reach back, pull his head up. If he's really burying his head too, okay, I just need to basically get my fingers under just a tiny little bit from here. You guys see it? And then I just use my heel to do most of the work, and my fingers just sort of assist. Okay, so kind of keep your head pinned. Okay. This is stronger. So my fingers just kind of help what my heel is doing, right? It's kind of guiding it up as opposed to just knocking his head along the mat. And at this point, I'm looking to scoop the arm. Okay. Once I sprawl on him, I figure 4. And I just start working on this arm. Okay, so he's trying to get some wiggle room in there. It's going to be very difficult. Okay. So I'm looking for that wrist. And once I have the wrist, okay, I bring my hand to my own forearm, and I just do a little, from here, a little wrist raise. If I'm in here like this and his arm starts to bend, okay, like that, obviously I'm going to keep the wrist. Then I'm just going to grab his thumb, roll it back up, and search again for this. Okay. Other option from here is if he's very wiggly with it, I pass it to this side. And now I hug here. A lot of times I'll do this anyway because I have plenty of time from here. It's very hard for him to escape, as I said. So I'll just hug this. Now I'm pinching again between my ear and my thumb. Everybody see it? And now from here, I'll come into this side. Okay. Maybe you see it again. Good. Let's go ahead and try that. All right, so starting now with the assumption that instead of elbow being totally in between us, now I have managed either by setting up something here, right, thinking, oh, I'm going to choke him, right, he brings out a little bit to defend, or I was doing the previous technique and then I feel, oh, that's up, so I move my hips up a little bit. He's still keeping me framed back, but now I know that because it's sitting on my hip as opposed to in between us, once I bring my leg over, I can trap it. Good, so here, fingers come in. Okay, if he's already got his head up, that helps. If not, I use primarily my heel to scoop and my fingers just adjust. Good. Scoop the arm. And as I turn my chest towards the mat, there's the figure 4. Now I start to work on this arm. If I feel like he's a little too wiggly for me to control the thumb, I can pass it to the other side. And then once pinched between my ear and shoulder, I find the thumb, put on that straight arm lock. Okay? Like I said, that's great because you can take all day long to work on the far arm because the only defense they have is from the elbow down at that point. Okay? So, there's, you could always kind of switch your arms around and try and go for a shoulder lock from there. But the main one I usually try and go for is just continue to shift his arm around until it's straight so that this is the only thing he can do. And then once you get it so this is controlled up here, so this is all he can do, and you know the thumb is pointed where you want to hyperextend it, then that straight arm bar is the most high percentage. And you can just work on that over and over and over again because you've got his whole body in a triangle. Okay? Let's try it.